So I had to do that. I go back to this script, and now I update all of my records. And I need to do this because that's otherwise it's pointing to the wrong database on my left hand side, right? I'm using this test TWH for making these videos. So I update the current records with the valid from. For this purpose, let's use sales table. That's what the source system most likely has implemented since it started capturing data. And then for the valid to date, I'm going to use a future date. And I've come up with this mock future date of the year 1999, and that's just a mock-up. As long as it's one in the future, right? You can also change it every day to the next day, but to me that just seems wasteful. Let's just do it very much in the future, and then when they become not valid, we update them. So I update all of my dimension tables with this valid from and valid to date. If I hit execute, I'm now getting an error on the dim product. That's because I have a typo here. I call it dim product in singular form and not dim product data warehouse with a last load date integer field. Now the next thing I need to do is go back and prepare my dimension tables to actually be able to hand these incremental changes. So for example, slowly changing dimension types. And in order to prepare for that, I need to alter all the dimension tables and add two new fields or values, one called valid from and one called valid to. And by knowing these informations, I can then connect relevant fact cell records to the corresponding dimension role that says which attributes is the valid ones for this given record. And I do that by going in and using this altered table and then adding the fields valid from and valid to. They're both going to be integer fields because they're going to hold this surrogate date key, right? So if I execute that, and then I verify by, for example, looking at my EDW customer, select 1,000 rows, I can now see valid from and valid to has been added, and there's a valid from and valid to column here, but they contain null values because I haven't updated them yet. So I had to do that. I go back to this script, and now I update all of my records. I need to delete this because that's otherwise it's pointing to the wrong database on my left. Right, and I'm using this test TWH for making these videos. So I update the current records with valid from, and for this purpose, let's use the first record in the fact sales table because that's when the source system most likely has implemented since it started capturing data. And then for the valid to date, I'm going to use a future date. And I've come up with this mock future date of the year 1999, and that's just a mock-up date. As long as it's one in the future, right? You can also change it every day to be the next day, but to me that just seems let's just put it very much in the future, and then when they become not valid, we update them and something else becomes valid. So I update all of my dimension tables with valid from and valid to date. Hit execute,